Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today it's actually a quick one about artifact catch-up, and more specifically the speed at which you can get caught up with patch 7.1.5. As you may well know, patch 7.1.5 has two major new catch-up mechanics. The first is the ability to purchase artifact knowledge ranks directly via these books, which cost 500 each, and you can do that up to rank 15. And then additionally, you can send artifact knowledge catch-up compendiums from your main to your alts. If your main is artifact knowledge rank 25, which it likely will be by the time 7.1.5 releases, then you will be able to get any new character to artifact knowledge rank 20 instantly by using an artifact research compendium volume 1 through 4, which is purchased at your order hall when the patch drops. So with this stuff in mind, I hopped onto my artifact knowledge rank 14 alt to investigate how much time it would take to get a fresh weapon ranked up. Now, this character already had 3 traits on that weapon, but the first 3 traits are extremely inexpensive to the point of being insignificant in comparison to the cost of the later ones, and the goal here was just to work out roughly how long would it take to get a new character up to speed with their weapon. So, I decided to play the game mostly solo and not head into Mythic Plus. You could just go into Mythic Plus, grind it up quickly, but I feel like most people will be doing the solo route. I instead mostly did world quests and Suramars. I think that's just the average kind of thing to do. I used World Quest Group Finder, which greatly decreased the amount of time that it took to do world quests, and that was definitely instrumental. Overall, I did about 2 hours of world quest content and 1 and a bit hours of Suramar spread across 2 sessions of gameplay, which was across 18 hours of real time, so I had to have waited even more. Likely more artifact power world quests would have spawned, and this overall involved doing 3 emissary caches. So, what were my results from this experiment? I earned 284,520 artifact power. This was at knowledge rank 14, and it was enough for me to purchase overall 22 traits on the weapon. Now, you can do just a tiny bit of maths and scale that up to what I would have got if I was rank 15, and that number is 360,392 artifact power, which would have been enough for 23 traits. So as you can see, the numbers at artifact knowledge rank 15 are actually quite nice. You can get 15 instantly on any character at the cost of 7,500 order hall resources, which you could always ship over to one of your alts via purchasing the Blood of Sagaris order hall resource items on your main. Now, if your main is artifact knowledge rank 25, then you will be able to purchase the compendium, which will boost a new character to rank 20, and that only costs 1,000 order hall resources, which is quite nice. So if I had have been rank 20 on that character, I would have earned 1,138,080 artifact power, which would have been enough for me to purchase 28 traits. Now, this would have been enough for me to get all of my gold traits, with some weapons like, say, the Marksmanship Hunter one. That would have been enough for me to purchase all of the major throughput traits, leaving sort of only a few miscellaneous utility stuff kind of left. And what is clear though with this is that with one evening of gameplay, and maybe a little bit the next day, but probably just in one evening of gameplay, you can get a new character's artifact weapon to a viable state. Overall, I think this majorly reduces the barrier to entry for new characters, as getting to this stage would have previously taken, 3 to 4 days per artifact knowledge rank times 15, so you're maybe looking at like a month to 6 weeks. Probably more, because the inherent catch-up mechanic would slow down as you get closer to, to full artifact knowledge. Yeah, this humongously reduces the amount of time you'll need to spend working on that stuff on your alts. Like, if you just started an alt right now and were not able to use those artifact knowledge multipliers, like, it would just take so much longer to get your weapon in a good state. Now, there is one key bit of advice here, because this video will likely come out before the patch drops. Do not do Suramar on a new character until the patch drops, because Suramar just drops a lot of artifact power items. You definitely want to use them once you have the 15 at least ranks of artifact knowledge, and because you'll be able to get those instantly, it actually, in this case, it does make a little bit of sense to wait until those catch-up mechanics are actually unlocked. But once they are, and the patch has dropped, and you're, at rank 15 or 20, just hop in and do Suramar, do some world quests, and overall, you will be up to speed with your new character. So that's it for the main part of the video. Be sure to hit that like button if you enjoyed it, or subscribe if you want to see more. And I'm just going to launch into the short Q&A section that I like to do at the end of videos. And this time we've got a question from 3Capta, who said, I have a question. What is alluring about PvE? It's just scripted fights that are really predictable in my opinion. Sure, the first time might be fun, but after that, I feel like you're just kind of going through the motions. And I think this is actually a really different topic, because it does brings up the fact that PvE and PvP gameplay are fundamentally different in how they are. You are better able to prepare for what's going to happen in a PvE fight than you are in a PvP fight. Sure, you know what toolkit your ability has, but you're still playing against another person. And even within PvE fights, it's not like you're playing against a smart AI that is trying to come up with creative solutions to kill you. Instead, you're sort of playing against a very scripted AI, which isn't really going to do much surprising, assuming you know the mechanics. So what is continually alluring about PvE content? Well, I think that it's to do with a few different things. First of all, I think it's satisfying to try to learn a fight and then to, go and execute that and win. I also think that the longer term progression loops of PvE are a bit more satisfying than with some of the PvP stuff. There is a satisfaction in having struggled against something, overcame it barely, and then, you've got that thing down pat. I think that's good, and that also just combines into the cooperative gameplay, which is on a larger scale than it traditionally is with PvP content. However, is on a sort of a small scale, maybe 5 second to 5 second basis, is PvP combat more engaging? I actually believe that it is. Think about the amount of decisions that you are making in a mid-tier raid fight and every 10 seconds or every 5 seconds, and then compare that to the amount of decisions that need to be made in a 3v3 arena. It's pretty obvious that there are more decisions to be made in that arena. I do think that PvP gameplay is harder because, you've got two toolkits being put against each other, yours and the enemies, which are in theory kind of balanced, and you're fighting against the ingenuity of another player who is actively trying to tear you to pieces. Whereas with a mostly static boss fight, it's more you slotting into the strategy that is needed to defeat that, and then also, even though they are static fights, they are maybe a tiny bit more dynamic feeling because, sometimes abilities can happen in a different order. Sometimes, different people are targeted by a thing, which does prompt a different response from the raid every single time. Even think about some boss fights where you've got multiple different abilities on their own individual timers, such that they will converge in different patterns and orders. And again, that's something that does keep some of the fights feeling fresh. So I guess overall that's my thoughts on PvE and PvP content. I actually enjoy them both quite a bit, though I'm definitely a lot more experienced with the PvE side of things. However, I do want to change that, and I plan to be dabbling in PvP a bit more soon. Anyway though, that is it for the video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.